Hey there guys, my name is Jason and thanks for tuning into my channel Pips-N-Chits. Today I'm going to start a brand new Lego Star Wars build series, and if you recall a few weeks ago I did set number 75329, which was the Death Star trench run. That was 665 pieces, and I broke that up over a series of 3 videos. Well, today I'm going to start a brand new one. It will be set 75330, the Dagobah Jedi training diorama, and this is 1,000 pieces, and it has 3 minifigures. We have Luke in basically his Bespin gear or Dagobah gear. We have R2-D2 and of course Yoda. And like the last series, I'll kind of reminisce a little bit what it was like seeing The Empire Strikes Back for the first time, my first reaction to Yoda, and trying to find that elusive Yoda action figure, which was very hard for me to find back in the day. Funny story about this set, my wife actually bought this for my birthday almost a year ago. It's coming up on 1 year, and obviously I haven't built it yet. Why not? I got into some other Lego builds. In the meantime, I built the large modular set, city modular set that is, the Jazz Club, which was really cool, and I decked that out with some lights. And then more recently, I just did the 2024 release of the Spring Festival, which is heavily Asian influenced. That's a really cool build. There's a lot of minifigures in that one. I want to say there's either 12 or 13 minifigures in that one. And man, really cool Asian architecture. They do some phenomenal things with the bricks in that one there. I really like that set. Debating if I want to embellish it with a lighting kit. I definitely think I am going to get a lighting kit for this one, but we'll have to find out later on at the end of this video. I guess I should buy that now so it gets here in time. But without further ado, in case you missed that first trench run series, go ahead and click that link or playlist up above, and you might also see the link in the description below. But let's get down to the table, let's open up this box, and let's start building the Dagobah Jedi training diorama. All right, thanks for meeting me down here at the table. As you can see, here we have the box. Got a little bit of damage here. I'm kind of bummed out about that, but you know, it's more so the contents inside. Again, this is set 75330. It is 1,000 pieces, and it is for ages 18 and up. Not quite sure why, because I have a feeling younger ages could probably handle this. Just looking at the back, let's see what we have here. It says 11.5 inches wide, the base, and we have about 6 inches tall. And you can see here the 3 action figures, or minifigures if you will, a lot of translucent pieces, and of course Luke's submerged X-Wing fighter. And we'll go ahead and punch the side of the box here in these little holes and try to get rid of that glare and get these bags out. And I'm kind of curious to see how many bags are in this box. And it's always so hard to open these up without damaging them. I know a lot of collectors really like their boxes in pristine condition. I'm okay if we have it or not. So let's see, how many bags do we have? Well, there's bag 4, and there is another bag 4, and there's bag number 5, and here's bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, a lot of translucent pieces there, and bag number 6. And of course, probably these 3 base plates right here we'll set aside. And we have our manual. So I think today in this very first video, we'll just get through bags maybe 1 and 2, and we'll go from there. Okay, hang on just a second, and I'll clear the table off, and we'll get right into the next instruction set. All right, cleared the table off, and all we have here is bags number 1 and bag number 2. We'll set bag number 2 off to the side for right now. We'll go ahead and just open up the contents of bag number 1 and dump all that out. And there goes Luke's head. Set this cello bag aside, and we'll open up this little tiny bag right here, set that aside, spread some of these pieces out, and of course we will go ahead and turn the page here. And let's just read a little bit here on the very first page here before we get into the instructions. It says, "Ready for Jedi training you are. Who else tried to use the Force after watching Luke Skywalker and Jedi Master Yoda levitate rocks in Luke's X-Wing starfighter in the murky jungles and swamps on Dagobah in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back? Because you never know, it might just work. Do or do not, there is no try, Master Yoda." Okay, this training diorama. Dagobah's reptilian, amphibious, and mysterious life forms generate the living force of both light and dark. It's the perfect Jedi training location, and Yoda and his cozy, humble hut make the eerie bogs feel like home to Luke and us. And if we get a sense of peril that awaits Luke on his Jedi training. The Lego Star Wars diorama collection is inspired and dedicated to Star Wars fans and our favorite defining moments in the saga. Get your Jedi feet wet as you soak up the atmosphere of Dagobah's living force. All right. Well, I'm hoping that in the future we will see more of these type of sets. I know recently they did the Emperor's Throne Room, kind of sticking to the classic trilogy. I would actually like to see some stuff with the original, the prequel series, and maybe even 1 or 2 scenes from the latest series that came out with Rey and Kylo Ren. All right, so it's kind of showing us the bag layout here. Bag 1 is clearly just the base, as is pretty much bag 2, just laying down the foundation there. Bag 3 is where we're going to get a lot more of that translucent stuff. And then moving on, we're getting probably in our second videos, we'll start the construction of the actual hut, and probably our third and final video, doing the tree and the X-Wing here. And of course, we'll see the 2 more minifigures later on, but all the detailing there. So without further ado, let's get right into it and start building Luke here. And let's see, it's not much to him, just the 4 pieces like that. He's got his little tank top on, and the little silk screen here, you can see he's kind of some wet spots on there, some silk screen wet spots. Now he's got 2 faces. He's actually got his eyes closed as if he were going to be using the Force. And then the other side here, his eyes are open and his mouth is a little bit agape. I think we'll go with that side. And then we'll go ahead and put his hair on. And let's do a little close-up of Luke right there. See if you can see him. And hopefully that focuses it a little bit better. It's not doing a great job of focusing, but got some detailing. We see some pockets on his pants. And flip it over and we see, some details of his shoulder blades there, or the back of his tank top. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and put Luke aside and flip the page. Okay, so we're going to start with this white piece here, And well, let's see how we got a lot of these long black pieces, and they're all different sizes. So we got to make sure that we get the right size. So it looks like it's 8. That looks like a 8 2x8 right there. So this movie, I remember seeing the first. I was in Michigan at the time. I was on vacation with my parents in Michigan, and they had bought me a magazine, and in that magazine was some early concept art, and there was no actual photo stills yet, but at least it was concept art of the next Star Wars movie. And I vaguely remember that we saw Echo Base for the first time, or some interior shots of Echo Base. I remember the kind of the translucent computer screens that Princess Leia was kind of standing around and talking to some of the Hoth generals there. And I don't remember what magazine. It was like oh gosh, it was like a home goods type of a magazine, like Good Housekeeping or something like that. And there was a spread of that, and of course we had all gone nutso for the original film when it came out. And this is a long piece here. Looks like, well, it looks like I gotta count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. Looks like that's 14 right there. I think that's about right. Oh, I don't know. That might be a little long. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Nope, that's 14. And just seeing those pictures for the first time and thinking to myself, I didn't really have a concept of time. I was 9 years old at the time there, so it had to have been 1979 when those pictures had first come out. And I was, of course, ecstatic, could not wait. And at the time, when I went up to Michigan, we had driven there from California to see my grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff. That's where my parents are from. And of course, I had to bring my Star Wars action figures with me. So I had a case with some of the original Kenner figures that I got from the first movie, and they more or less traveled with me everywhere at the time. But just being very excited and not really understanding, like, okay, when is this coming out? May. How far? I mean, was that like 9 months or 6 months from now? I really can't recall. Why does this look longer? So I think I might have already messed up here. So how did that happen? This looks like it's 2 pieces over, but this is 4. So let me double check. Did I do this wrong already? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, I did. This is 12 pieces, not 14. Okay, so there we go. There, 1 piece too long. How did I count 14? It must have been this piece right here. Okay. And then let's see. When did I see it? So I recall my parents taking me to Fashion Island, and that is in Newport Beach, California. And there was a movie theater there, part of Fashion Island. It was a separate building outside of the mall, if you will. And we saw an afternoon showing. And I am not sure what time we got there. We did not spend the night overnight. And I think, though, my parents or my mom got tickets very early that day. And my dad drove me up there and we met my mom. And of course, we stood in line outside, wrapped around the building for hours and hours. And let's see, that's 8. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just kind of remember it was a sunny day and there was a lot of people there, and it was, of course, May of 1980. And I just remember just the line and everyone being very excited and just wrapped around. And I was just so tired, though, from standing outside all day long. But when we finally got let into the building there and sitting down for the first there in the movie theater, and this is before they had assigned seats. We didn't have assigned seating back then. It was more so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another 8 pieces. First come, first serve. Not like today, where a lot of movie theaters now, which I kind of like, is if you get there early enough, you get to pick your seats out in person, and they assign the seats to you. But unfortunately, ever since COVID, I think the movie industry in general has kind of gone down a little bit, or at least seeing the movies in person, because a lot of the movie theaters in my area, unfortunately, seem to have been closing down. And I just got to orientate this the right way here, so matching this picture. And how did I miss these ones already? Gosh darn, I already missed some. I didn't even see these being built. I'm just going to go back. What's weird is they don't show. See, it's a 1 and 1. And the 2 that we put on the edge right there. And all of a sudden, then we jump over and we have these 3 white center pieces, but then it shows these black ones. So I don't know if those instructions were missed. It looks like they were, because they weren't there, and that would make sense that we want as much support as we can right here. So we'll get, okay, and that's not right, because we want to put that on the seam like so. All right, so now these white pieces are going to go smack in the middle. We're going to line it up with this line right here. And I'm taking it that these are more or less just support. Sorry, that was my phone. I should probably turn that off. It said potential spam on there. All right, so flip that over. We have one more long piece, and then we have 5 of these kind of 1 by or 2 by 2s with a little half step, and these little 2 circles on it, and it's asking for 5 of those. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and where's the 5th one? I need one more somewhere. There it is, right there. So 5 of those. And those are, if we flip, now it's asking me to flip this all the way back over. And we're going to attach this piece up front, like so. And we should have all 5 of these right here. Well, anyway, getting back to seeing the movie, of course, I loved it. And to this day, I think Empire Strikes Back is my favorite of all the movies. I mean, that battle scene, that first scene in Hoth, when you're seeing the AT-ATs for the first time in the snow, and of course, riding a tauntaun and cutting that thing open, and the Wampa snow beast that attacks Luke early on, and gosh, the probe droid. I mean, And the first 10 minutes of that movie, I mean, it was incredible. It was, one kind of like fan service after another, if you will. Let's see, we need 2 of these blocks right there. And I mean, what a cool idea or design for that probot there. The Imperial spy droid that kind of hovered around looking for signs of the rebel base. And of course, film technology had improved a little bit by that time, and the special effects of seeing that Star Destroyer again, the opening shot there and launching those probes out to different planets, that was so awesome to me. All right, we need 4 of these blocks, and these blocks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to space these a little evenly, or we're kind of going in both directions here. So now we need this one here. We're going to repeat that pattern there. Okay, like so. And we'll set these aside. And now we're going to get these like little grill plates. I'd never seen these grill plates before, and until I did the Death Star thing a few weeks ago. And now I saw them in my more recent build of the Chinese Lunar Festival, or I think it was, the Summer Festival set for 2024. And now, what a brilliant... I like these. And what I like about them too is they have like a metallic, they're not metal, of course, they're plastic, but they have that kind of a little sparkly effect to them. There's like a little bit of a sheen to them, if you will. All right, so now we need 2 more of these pieces, and now we need 4 of the 3 by 3 pieces right here. Oh, no, we need 4 of those, actually. So 4 of those, and then 4 of these pieces right here, and 4 more grills. Well, of course, seeing that movie came out in May, one could only expect that for Christmas that year, there was going to be a whole plethora of new toys. And of course, I think that probably broke my parents' bank, but was an easy buy for me for Christmas back then. Getting those action figures and a couple new vehicles. I don't think it was Christmas. No, I know it wasn't Christmas. I'm not quite sure. I do remember a store. It was prevalent on the West Coast. I don't know where you guys are watching this video, and if you are aware of a store called Gemco, but think of a predecessor to like Best Products, which was also a store on the West Coast that we don't really see those anymore. But Gemco was kind of like a higher end Ben Franklin, or kind of an all-in-one store, kind of the precursor to Target, if you will. I know Targets are everywhere, but we had a store called Gemco, and I remember getting, on a rainy day, getting the electronic. Well, when I say electronic, it had some noises and it lit up a little bit, but the snow speeder, and man, was that such a cool toy. And it came, of course, with the little harpoon there, and I want to say, I can't remember when I got the AT-AT, but that was the big gift for me, I think, that year, is my parents for Christmas had bought me the AT-AT, and that thing, of course, was monstrous. And the legs inside, For its time, it was a cool toy. There wasn't much articulation. I mean, the legs seemed a little bit wobbly or kind of hard to maneuver. You just kind of had to kind of like plod it around, and and of course the A1 or the snow speeder was so big it could barely fit through the AT-AT's legs. So trying to recreate that scene of Luke flying through there was near impossible to do. But I mean, what a great toy at the time. And of course, we got the action figures, and oh my gosh, wasn't the snow trooper that is the Imperial snow trooper such a cool variation, if you will, of the stormtrooper? And you got to see the AT-ST for the first time as well, and that huge battle going on. And of course, again, with technology, they did the stop motion and they were able to add more ships, and we saw, you know, a lot more going on right there. But I mean, it was just incredible at the time, and I loved it. Okay, so we're getting down to the wire here. It's a pretty quick build, this base, even though the instructions, for most part, I find Lego instructions are pretty good most of the time. I do find occasional mistakes, though, like we saw in this one just now. And when I did the Chinese Lunar Festival set, there was some blatant mistakes in there as well. And sometimes the coloring of the bricks in the manual and what you have in front of you are very similar. In that Lunar Festival one, or that Summer Festival, excuse me, the red and the black and the brown, those were so similar looking, it was hard to really tell. You had to kind of basically look ahead and see how many pieces were of each one before you could really honestly figure out where those pieces had, which color they actually meant to use. And sometimes you just kind of have to take some creative liberties. But I applaud the guys that put these together, the manuals, if you will. I mean, I think they do a pretty good job most of the time, but I really don't know what the proofreading is like on that, because look, we're only on bag number 1 and we found kind of a small mistake here. All right, we have our 2 front panels, and here we go. Lego Star Wars. And do or do not, there is no try, from Yoda. And we are going to put that in. And there you go. There is the base right there. I like it. I wish there was a little bit more support underneath. I figure when we put a lot more on here, it will kind of lock things down a little bit more. It just seems like it could use a little bit more support. But with that, we're going to just take a quick pause, and we are going to go ahead to bag number 2. Okay, getting ready for, I guess, assuming bag number 2. So let's pull that into place. And yes, let's go ahead and dump our contents out. And again, we have a bag within a bag. So we see our first little translucent pieces. I guess I'll stick those over here. And no minifigure in this one, so I'm just going to kind of spread these out just so I could see them a little bit better here. Okay. Trying to think, what were some of my favorite action figures from Empire Strikes Back? Well, of course, who didn't love... I mean, you can't talk about Empire Strikes Back without mentioning Boba Fett. And I actually did indeed watch the Star Wars family holiday special there. And of course, that was a cartoon version of Boba Fett using a lance, if you will, that we never did actually see in the movie, but that was our first exposure. And I remember cutting out the little UPC symbols, if you will, or proof of purchase symbols on the back of the Star Wars cards and sending them in and getting that figure back. And by that time, if you'll recall, there was a TV show, Battlestar Galactica, where a child, it was reported somewhere, I want to say back in the Midwest or back east, he accidentally swallowed and choked to death on one of the small missiles that were either fired from the Cylon Raider or the Colonial Viper. And so they had to recall a lot of those toys, and they made them so they couldn't fire the little projectile. And that was the case with the Boba Fett figure as well. They had to remove the firing pin. And you can find on the internet figures, the early prototypes for Boba Fett with the little firing action there. I don't know, there's probably, maybe a dozen or less than a dozen of those were ever actually made. And collectors, I want to say I've read anywhere from like $8,000 to $10,000 to get a hold of one of those figures. But of course, he didn't fire anything. So I'm going to stop right here. So this is what I mean. So if you look at this picture right here, these both look white to me. But there are no white 2x2s. They are these tan color and this kind of a grayish color. Oh, gosh. There's a white. I spoke too soon. That's why I kind of have to spread these out. So forget everything I just said. I was trying to like, where's this white piece at? I couldn't find it. But there it is. Just got to spread it around a little bit. And let's see, what else? Oh, action figure wise. I recall for Easter one year, my parents getting me, I thought the FX7 medical droid and the 2-1B medical droid. Both of those were just so cool to me. I mean, FX7 had the, kind of had like it was either 6 or 8 like white arms that came out radiated from its side, and they all bent up, and it was a cool looking droid there. And then there was 2-1B. He put Luke in the Bacta chamber, and man, I thought that was such a cool droid at the time. I loved those two droids. They're probably one of my favorite ones. Then let's see. Well, we had various versions of Princess Leia. We had her in her Bespin gown, which kind of had like a peach color to it, and a vinyl cape. And there was a couple of versions. Oh, you know what? And now I think about it, they had the Bespin security guards, the twin, twin pod cloud car, or I guess you could say Bespin guards, if you will. They came in 2 flavors, which was pretty cool at the time. They had a white or a Caucasian guy, and they had a black guy. And I don't recall that ever seeing that before in my action figures. Basically the same figure, but just 2 different variants on skin color. And that was pretty cool, if memory serves me. All right, we're going to put this in right like that. And we have one smooth translucent piece, and then we've got this 1x1 with a circular one on there. And I take it this is the beginning of our swamp right here. I'm assuming this white section here is kind of gives the illusion of Luke's X-Wing, part of it being submerged, if you will. Don't know that for fact yet. I guess we'll find out, but that's all I can assume that it is. I'm trying to think. Was there another? They didn't make another Chewbacca figure, did they? There was just the one Chewbacca at the time, but we had Han Solo in Hoth gear, and we had Luke Skywalker in Bespin gear, and I think we had a Luke Skywalker in a Hoth gear as well. I'm trying to think what other action figures really stuck out. Well, we had a bunch of the bounty hunters. I mean, there was Bosk and 4LOM or 4LOM, depending on how you guys call it. And there was Zuckuss. And I'm trying to think what other action figures. Let's see, is this black here or is this? I take it that's darker brown. It's kind of hard for me to tell sometimes. But so anyway, Yoda. I remember seeing Yoda on the screen for the first time. And I kind of knew who Frank Oz was. I didn't really know that he was an actual puppeteer. I think I knew Frank Oz from Sesame Street doing the voice of Grover. And of course, there's some similarities with Yoda's voice and Grover. But I remember the first time I saw this, and what a cool, we're using a puppet. I mean, there was no CGI at the time, but we're going back to actual puppeteering. And seeing Yoda was so cool. And of course, that was the takeaway. And all these years later, how many people do impressions of Yoda talking backwards? And of course, Grogu from The Mandalorian. And there's the Jedi Master Yaddle from the original prequel series. But not much is known about him. But other than him saying that he was, close to 800 years old, and what an impact that character had on. To this day, I mean, if you think about Yoda and do or do not, and again, his wisdom, if you will, I mean, that's decades. That's 40-some years of hearing Yoda talk. And, of course, everyone there was Yoda costumes, and we saw Yoda in E.T., the extraterrestrial. But that figure... that was a very, very hard figure to get. And where I lived, there was once the kids knew that there was an action figure of Yoda, everyone was trying to find that thing. That was probably one of the most popular figures at the time. But he was almost impossible to find. And I want to say he had two different color snakes. There was a orange snake that wrapped around his body, and I want to say that there was a tan variant. I could be wrong, but my memory kind of seems to think that there was a tan variant. Anyway, there was a store called Kmart. Again, Kmart was all over the place, and you could say Kmart was another precursor to Target today, and we really don't see it so much anymore. But I remember there was one in a city called San Clemente, which was a little bit south of me at the time. And I probably drove those clerks crazy, and, well, probably not just me. I bet you every kid in town drove those kids crazy, because we didn't have the internets back then. And if you wanted to find an action figure, you had to go to the store in person and get a ride, or beg your parents to take you. or you had to call the store and ask if they had the figure, and if they did have the figure, see if they could put it on hold for you. And trying to tell a cashier, I think the last thing they wanted to do, or someone that worked there, is to drop whatever they were doing to walk up and down a toy aisle to look for a single action figure that was super small, and of course everyone wanted it, so if they had it, it was probably snatched up immediately. But then to ask them to put it on hold, and then you begging your parents, or maybe in some cases your neighbor, or if you had an older brother or sister, to drive you down to the store so you could spend your your allowance to maybe get that figure. And of course they probably didn't know. I mean, yeah, kid, we got it. Yeah, we'll put it on hold for you. And you get down to the store and come to find out they actually didn't put it on hold for you, or they got the wrong figure altogether, or another kid came in and was able to get it instead of you. But yeah, that was a very tough action figure to get. And I'd be curious to know today how much, if you had those, how much those figures are worth with the different variants of the snake. Now, he also had, I want to say he had a cloth, excuse me, he had a cloth outfit as well. And if you took the outfit off, here's a little cloth overcoat, if you will, then you got to see his suit underneath. Now, I don't know if Lucasfilm, gave those pictures to Kenner ahead of time, or Kenner had to take creative license in that. But I just remember taking his little coat off and saying, well, that's pretty darn cool to see, this additional detail underneath that you probably, most kids, you would never see it underneath here. All right, so working on what looks to be part of the swampland. I'm imagining this is dirt right here, and we're kind of moving up onto the land. There's like a little onesies, twosies all over here, and I'm just trying to fit these in place to the best of my ability. And this one here, this is an interesting one. So right here at this junction, we have this light tan piece, and then we have a green piece over it. So we're building this little half brick, if you will, and that's going to go right there. Okay. We're flipping the page for those following along. I am at page 34, and I am doing the inset instruction 27 up here. And I got to find 3 of these. That's another cool thing I do kind of like about the new Lego sets. I remember when I got Lego, when I was building Lego in the late 70s, early 80s, and specifically I had a lot of the space Legos back then at the time, from their space series. We didn't have individual bags. They came in a box, and you just dumped everything out, and you just spent time hunting down pieces, whereas today at least they kind of break them up into these bags, which are a little bit easier to navigate, if you will, or at least put together, so you're not getting overwhelmed with 1,000 pieces here. All right, so we'll need one of those, one of these. We have this big brick here, or big flat brick, and these 2 here. Looks like we are getting up on the sand, if you will. So I'm just making sure that that's nice and flat. And here we go, putting that in there. Kind of reminds me of, now that I'm putting this together, I wonder if this is where they got the idea for the Lego mosaics. Been seeing a lot more of those lately, even though I don't own one. I don't know exactly if I do want that. I think they'd be kind of cool to build, but I'm not sure about that. They have that Vincent Van Gogh one. They have some, some DC and Marvel superhero pictures. I think there was a Wolverine one, a Batman, a Superman one from a couple years back. I don't know if they ever did any Star Wars mosaics though. I don't know why. Somewhere in my head, I want to say that there might have been a Darth Maul one. I could be wrong though. I don't really recall. All right, so we got two of these little things right here. We have a 3, and I'm looking for here we go, that color right there. All right. It's also kind of hard to see this red. I mean, they do have like a little red outline on here, which does help, but it is a little tough to see. They should do a better job of doing a call out there. Okay, that doesn't look right. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I have to pay more attention here. So we got that yellow one goes there, and then we have a tan one right there, and another one there, and there, and we have this. Okay, now getting down to some big chunkier base parts right now. All right, so we need this one piece here. We need a 1x4. We need 3 of these gray ones. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I think we have one more. Is that tan or brown? I think that's the tan one. I'm assuming it's tan. And we need another tan of those and 2 of these kind of like beigey color things right there. And now we're going to do this whole front section. So let's start with this big piece right here. Pushing that down flat. Okay, so I'm just going to tilt this a little bit, see what we got here. So we got this 4. We have a singular. We have this. I'm going to just flip this to the side a little bit because I can't really see. So I'm going to put this one piece right down in here. Oh boy, that's tough to get. That's tough to get in there. Oh my gosh, I feel like Butterfingers right now. Why can't I get that? Can't get that one piece in there. Okay, there we go. Wow, that was a little bit much. Okay, and then we've got a tan piece goes in there next. And then we have another 2x piece. All right, now I'm going to flip this back around so it makes, I can kind of align it with this picture here. And then we're going to put that and another tan piece right there, or yellowish piece. Then these 2 go side by side right there. And we have this goes right there, and this goes in the middle. All right, moving along. I'm trying to think back, what more memories do I have of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back? boy, the first time when Han Solo ignites the lightsaber and has to cut into that downed tauntaun there, and kind of its intestines coming out, if you will. And then I could just imagine what it did smell like. Just Han calls that out. There were some scenes that they had shot too that never ended up. They were cut scenes, some more interior scenes that they had originally shot at the Echo Base, when the stormtroopers or snow troopers end up getting inside there. And there is some footage that you can find online on YouTube, and it was shot back in 79 or 78, 79, if you will. And so they're a little rough, but it's the snow troopers getting into Echo Base, and unbeknownst to them, there was some wampas in Echo Base as well. There was a whole scene that was cut out of the movie, or a little side vignette, or whatever you want to call it, side story, where 3 or 4 wampas were able to get into the base there and wreak havoc. And they cut that out for whatever reason, but there was a snow troopers getting in there and coming face to face with some rogue wampas that had infiltrated. And of course, the very first time that you saw Darth Vader strolling in there and setting up that large E-Web ion cannon gun on the tripod. Let's see, we're going to put these pieces in there. And, oh God, what was that? Was it Admiral Ozzel? I've got to think back to my trivia. Who was the Imperial general, or maybe it was an admiral, that was in the either AT, yeah, I think it was an AT-AT, or kind of ruined the element of surprise on the rebels down there, and Vader had choked him out using the Force from his ship, using telekinesis or whatever, if you will, and was able to choke him out down there, and kind of admonished him. Or am I getting that confused a little bit? Okay, wait, there was someone jumped the gun, and Vader choked him and promoted the guy. Oh, that was on a Star Destroyer, but I want to say that there was a general or something that was in an AT-AT down on the surface that also kind of blew it, if you will. And Vader was more or less kind of ticked at that and kind of punished them as well. All right, so we got 2 of these getting down to the end here. 2 of these, 1 of those, another 1x4, another. Let's see. I got 2, 1, 1, and this piece right here. Okay. So, for some reason, well, this is interesting. I don't know why we're not filling this in. According to this, we are just going to put this long piece right on top of this. So we're going to leave this black right there. I guess it doesn't matter, but it just seems a little weird to me that we're not going to fill that in. But, oh well. All right. Get some additional. I've got all these pieces left over here. Okay, we got this big piece here, and we've got 2 and 1. All right. So this, same thing. We aren't going to fill in some of this. We're just going to build right across. Okay. I guess that is more or less saving some plastic. We're just going to cover it up. It's going to be a little hollow underneath. Okay. And for those wanting to know, I am on instruction 34 on page 41. And now I'm going to turn to page 42. All right, so we have one and two of these. Boy, we're going to fill in. I suspect we're going to fill in a lot of this green stuff here in a minute. So let's see. This is offset by 1 right there. Yep, because this is going to fit in right here. And then we have this piece right here. And this tan piece is going to go right in front, like so. All right, we're down to the last few. So let's see. Great, we have one more of these, and we have 5 translucent green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's see where this stuff goes. Yeah, they could do a little bit better calling out. I mean, I can see the red here, but if you're not paying attention, it does look a little tough to see all this. All right, so we're going to put that piece right there. And now we're going to put 5 of these in the back. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And put this piece right there. Go ahead and turn the page. We have this interesting piece left and all this translucent stuff. So we need 4 flat ones. I am looking for 4 flat. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, and now we're getting some flat circular translucent pieces. Now I got to be careful because there are some pieces here that have connectors or studs on the top part. So I got to differentiate between the studs, the ones with and without studs. Okay, so now looking down here, we are back down in this section. So I want to put 1 right there. Is that flush? Yeah. And then up to that caddy corner, I want, or diagonal, if you will, 2 of those. And right below that, we want 1 round piece. Go figure. And we're going to skip over, and next to here, we're going to put another round piece. And then we're skip back around, and there's a round piece. And then I have 1 more, okay, right there, right at the edge. Green right there. Okay. Wow. Now we've got 19. So one thing I don't understand, like, although it's pretty cool that they make these translucent 1x1s, if you will, I don't know why they don't make those L-shaped, because I can tell you right now, the way that they want this could be the same thing as one of those L-shapes. Why have 3 individual 1x1s when you could just make 1 L-shape? I don't get that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. All right, now I just kind of have to follow this mapping here down below and just kind of plug them in place, I guess. Yeah, because I mean, no kidding. There's 1,000 pieces here. If everything's one by ones, yeah, why wouldn't it be 1,000 pieces? But if you were able to get make a bunch of these L-shaped things, then you could cut down on your individual counts, if you will. So to like right here, here's another one. I could have done an L on this side because these are going all the way down. Here it looks like. Oop, and okay. All right, so I'm kind of looking at this third row here and nothing there. So I'm going to skip one and I'm going to put 3 right here. There's 1. Okay, I'm going to just turn this a little bit so I can get my fat thumb in there. Ooh, yeah, I don't. Okay, there's 3. And then we skip, and then we're going to do 4 right at the bottom. Cover up all this white down here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right in the corner. And I have 2 left over. So it looks like I'm covering up these 2 white pieces right there. And flipping the page to page 46. And we need 1 more of those. Now we're going to get the circular ones with the connector on top, and we're going to use this interesting piece. So let's take a look at this. This has a little connector that looks like a socket. I'm going to bring that up to the camera a little bit. I don't know if it could focus, but there's like this little thing. I'll turn it sideways here. You can see there's like a little divot in there, so I imagine something is going to go in there. So now, getting back to this. Once these 2 green circle things on top of that 1 square one, and that's going to go right there. Okay. And this is kind of gonna go at an angle, it looks like. Okay, this is, I don't get this. So in the picture, oh, I guess it does go at an angle. So it kind of locks in there at a 45-degree angle. So once you push this down, you can no longer turn it on that turntable thing because the studs here kind of lock that into a 45-degree angle. I imagine that is obviously going to be where his wing is going to be. All right, so now 9 more circle pieces with studs on the top. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I don't know why. Let me count that again. I had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're missing 1. Okay, there it is. All right, so now I'm just going to plug these in. There's kind of a more mapping down here. Just kind of put them where they tell me. There's a piece goes there, piece goes there. I wonder if this is supposed to simulate like the bubbles. That's probably what it is. Like, you know, when he's using the force there, he's got his eyes closed and he's got his hand held out and he's trying to lift the X-Wing up. This is probably simulates like the little gurgling, if you will, of the current, the undercurrent there, which is kind of neat. I mean, there's a lot of texture here because we're at varying heights. We're at the base level, and then we go up 1 and 2, and you know, even here we got one that's up at 3. All right, we're down to the last 5 pieces here, which are these circular ones that are flat. And like many Lego sets, we have some extra pieces that are going to be left over, which is kind of cool. So if you ever lose a piece, or you want to take some creative liberties, or if a vacuum accidentally sucks one of your pieces up, or you lose them because they're so small, you do have some extra ones. And I find that in a lot of the Lego sets that we end up having some leftover bricks. So anyway, there you go. That is bags 1 and 2. I think we're going to call this video it for right now. I hope you enjoyed this. So come back with me when we follow up on video 2. I think we'll do bags 3 and 4. And then our final video will be bags 5 and 6. But you know what's interesting, now that I'm looking at this, there's a little bit of a curvature to this. And hopefully it'll flatten out a little bit. But right now, I'm looking at this. This is kind of rocking a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's just a matter, I think, of just putting weight on there and having the plastic kind of, you know, settle in time. But with that, thank you for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. If you have any questions for me, I'll try to do my best to answer them in a timely manner. But for that, my name is Jason, and you are watching Pips-N-Chits, where I am building the Dagobah training diorama. Set number, what did I say, 73550, 1,000 pieces. And we'll see you in the next video.